how to calibrate the level or phase blind cutting machine. As we get into this task, it's important for you to understand that as you're visiting your Lowe's stores, you may see different versions of the phase blind cutting machine. There are small differences in these machines because they have been in the stores for such a long amount of time, and we have manufactured different phases or version of this machine. If you're looking for a reference, please take a look at the product cutting instructions that should be found in all stores, and you can flip to the machine diagram section to notice and look through pictures of what these different phases look like. Before we get into this task, I want you to understand the reasons why you would be calibrating the phase machine. The reasons behind this might be if you've received a call from your store associate and they're claiming that their blinds are being cut off or at a measurement that they did not set the machine to. For example, if you receive a call and your associates have been cutting faux wood blinds and they wanted that blind to come out to 30 inches exact. If that blind is consistently coming off a 1/4 inch greater or to 30 1/4 every cut, you may need to come in and move that tape and calibrate the blind cutting machine. You are looking for consistent measurements every time that product is cut. If you receive a call and the associate claims that every time they cut a faux wood blind, there are different measurements that it is off. Maybe the first time they cut it, it's 30. The next time they cut it, it's 30 1/8. The third time they cut it is 30 1/4. If there are inconsistencies in the measurements after cutting, there is a training need in that store or an operator error is occurring. So it's important for you to understand the why behind calibrating the phase blind cutting machine. Next, let's discuss the tools needed when calibrating the level or phase blind cutting machine. First, you will need the calibration and installation instructions. This PowerPoint can be located in your dock locker and will walk you through step by step how to calibrate each tape on the blind cutting machine. Next, you will need the tape scraper. This razor blade will help you remove the tape that is being calibrated. Next, you will need a Sharpie marker to mark the correct location of the tape that you're calibrating. You will also need your replacement tape to use when calibrating the tape and laying it in the correct location. You will need a tape measure to confirm the tape calibration once it has been installed. And last, you will want your product cutting instructions on hand for any questions you may have about the cut process after you have installed the tape. Now we will calibrate the vertical headrail tape or the dark blue tape on the level or phase blind cutting machine. You will log in to your blind cutting machine, and those steps for logging in can be found in your product cutting instructions or the blue manual that should be found in all stores, and you will select vertical headrail. Now I've already done that on this machine. So next you will take your tape measure and you will measure from the vertical shear, which is this silver shear where you actually insert the vertical headrail for cutting, and you will place your tape measure right up against that silver shear. You will measure from this shear to the 12-inch mark on your dark blue vertical headrail tape, and that 12-inch mark is the first mark on the tape. For a calibrated vertical headrail tape, you should achieve 11 3/8 from the vertical shear to the 12-inch mark. If this measures at 11 3/8, your vertical headrail tape is calibrated. If your vertical headrail tape is not calibrated and you need to replace it, there are a couple of things you need to do prior to peeling the tape. First, you will need to take your Sharpie and make a mark here at the edge of your vertical headrail tape. That will help you understand the current location of the vertical headrail tape so you know which way to move it, either to the left or to the right. Next, you will take your tape scraper and you will gently slide it underneath the vertical headrail tape for easy removal. Let's review some key takeaways in recalibrating the vertical headrail tape on the level or phase blind cutting machine. Remember, Level does give an 1/8 of an inch tolerance. So when you are checking the calibration of that vertical headrail tape, if that falls within an 1/8 of an inch, either less or more than 11 3/8 from the shear, that's fine. That falls within the level 1/8 of an inch tolerance. Now, if you get a measurement that's more off than an 1/8 of an inch, let's remember how to relay or replace the tape. If you measure from the shear and this tape is much less than 11 3/8, let's say it measures to 10 1/2, you are cutting too much off of your vertical headrail. So you need to replace this tape and remove it further away from the shear. So move it to the right or away from the shear. If this measures greater than 11 3/8, let's say it measures to 12 1/2, you're not cutting enough off of that vertical headrail. So you need to replace the tape and move it closer to your shear or to the left. Last, it's a great best practice to pull a vertical headrail off of the shelf and test cut it once you've recalibrated the tape to ensure accurate calibration. Don't forget to reference your calibration and installation PowerPoint that can be found in the dock locker to review each of these steps that we've discussed today.